Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show from the ground up. I am John Boitnott, your host. And today we are joined by Taiefa Tabassum, a marketing associate at MyWorks. And you're based out of London, UK. Hi, Taifa. How are you today?
Hi, John. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's great to have you on from the ground up and would love, you have extensive experience with marketing, with lean marketing teams, early stage startups. It's an exciting conversation, and we're going to have about basically how everyone can do their, some ways to optimize that whole end of things, which is a big, important part of the startup journey for many entrepreneurs. So tell us about yourself and tell us about what you're doing at MyWorks.
So, I like to present myself as a creative marketeer rather than just marketing associate because my original background is creative one. I started out as a visual designer, and from there, I have like almost 7 years of experience across different industries, starting from fashion, telecommunication, retail, and even in-house brand marketing, and now finally in the tech space, which is the most exciting space to be in as a marketeer right now. So yeah, currently I'm based in UK working for a very niche SaaS product called MyWorks, and it caters to a very specific customer base who are in the e-commerce accounting space. So that is also an exciting challenge.
Why is tech you mentioned tech is the most exciting right now. What makes tech marketing, especially for these earlier stage tools and startups, what makes that so exciting right now?
I think we live in an era where tech is all around us. We are currently communicating through tech. So I think as much as human as much as analog time is important for our human development, tech it also plays a huge role in our lives right now, whether it's how we are accessing healthcare or how we are doing customer service. Every part of your life tech is touching us. So I think growing up, we have always been familiar with traditional marketing, which is like ATL, above the line stuff. However, tech space, specifically SaaS marketing, presents you with a unique opportunity and challenge to, market your product to customers who may not even be familiar with your product or may not know they have that need, and how we can create those demand and retain those customers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. You weren't always in marketing. You transitioned over to marketing, and so what led you to it in the first place? And you've worked, across some really diverse sectors, fashion, legal, and tech. So what's it like, what drew you to marketing in the first place? And what's it like working across all these different industries and how they've shaped your approach?
So I would say I started out in the brand marketing space, which is more traditional, you where you execute everything from offline to online marketing tactics. So I have always been affiliated with marketing, but my primary role had been in design. So I would say that I was always at the intersection of design and marketing. And obviously, my work has always worked to, translate whatever the broader marketing strategy has had been for a specific campaign or a brand. So switching from that to just marketing, specifically in the Western world and how it works, because they are vastly different how marketing works in Asia versus how marketing works in um, Europe or US. So switching from that to marketing in the Western countries, that had been a very big transition. Even though I had been adjacent to marketing, it is still a big transition, understanding the customer needs here, understanding what language works, what are the processes you need to go through, how the approval system works. And sorry, I forgot the question you asked. I
Okay.
forgot the last part of the question. My apologies.
No, it's totally fine. I think it's really about like what's the transition been like. I think getting into Western countries more than anything else because you were doing work in Asia and now you're based out of the UK. You're working with American companies too, and all of the Western companies. What's that transition been like? Going from
Yes.
east to
So I would say the biggest transition is moving from human-centric advertising to more, text-based. I don't know how to explain that more sophisticatedly. Um, for example, in Asia, people tend to trust celebrities. So celebrity endorsement for any brand makes your
Hmm.
sales go up. Even on an online campaign, if you just slap some influential person's face on it, people get the perception that this brand is trustworthy. Whereas in Western countries, celebrity endorsement does work, but for more, I would say, fashion or lifestyle brands or food and beverage. However, it might not work for something like SaaS. You cannot just bring Leonardo DiCaprio vouching for your SaaS product and expect sales. So that is a big transition, like understanding how the customer life cycle works here. What are the touch points here? It's not the same as Asia, of course, because people are more exposed to tech over here. So we need to keep that in mind, you know, how marketing can best reach your target audience.
Yeah, for sure. Talking about some specific strategies that you've discussed in the past. One is the 70-30 rule, an idea to help with entrepreneurs out there, give them some ideas on what they can do. It's the 70-30 principle. You can like ship something at 70% and improve from that point based on real data. Walk through what that kind of looks like in terms of a campaign. Where it made the difference for the product involved.
Yes. So I think if you're in a startup, whether you're building an MVP or you are in a startup, but it may be a very lean team with um, some constraints on resources and budget, the important thing to remember is that you cannot run with an idea and spend all your budget on it. That is very important, of course. And the 70-30 rule comes into application here, where if you strongly believe in your product and your idea of the campaign, then see what works, see what the minimum demand is, see what people are talking about, see what your campaign is standing for. Who is this campaign for? Who are the customers? Is it meeting the market needs? And if a campaign is associated with your overall product launch, how am I going to turn those? How am I going to convert customers? Not just, chase after traffic, but is it converting or not? Will it convert or not? Sorry. So if 70% of all of these are working, then I think it is a safe bet to move forward, even if the other 30% are not entirely in place at the first go. You don't need to launch a perfect product or a perfect campaign at once, especially when you're working in a small team. You might have a great idea and you just want to quickly prototype it. We have prototyping tools now like Lovable and Base 44. You can quickly run it by any AI or through the prototyping tool and see if it gains some traction, if it's functioning or not, how will it look like once you launch it, beta test it. So that's where I think 70% of it should be working. If it's not, then don't put more money into it. Don't spend on PPC. Don't chase after, vanity metrics,
Mm.
because your base should be um, your base should be right. Like,
Yeah.
the base product should be in demand, working. And yeah, that's the most important thing I have seen founders fail at, because they just want to launch everything at once. They think the faster you launch, the faster you're going to get results and the faster you can sell. But yeah, you need to position your product first, product or campaign.
Yeah. So that's one of the big mistakes that founders often make is they don't position the product very well beforehand. They just try and rush everything out. What are any other common mistakes that you see founders make? Why startups sometimes fail or have a great difficulty with their marketing? Any other big mistakes you see them making?
I would also emphasize on founder-led content creates a lot of trust. So
Mm,
it is very common to see now on LinkedIn founders be more vocal, introducing their products, introducing new features, creating communication. However, some founders may think that investing on, organic content maybe not as useful, or they might think, oh, I don't have the time for doing all that. Why don't I just launch and make an announcement? But founder-led content does create more traction. If not traction, at the very least, it gives you access to real people who might be genuinely interested. You might not get like 1,000 signups at first, but you can reach real people, ask them to test your product, and yeah, see where that leads you, if your product is actually in demand or not. And it's not just about LinkedIn. Like, I would say founders can be active on TikTok as well, or Instagram, all these channels that are at your disposal. You need to figure out which one works for you best, where your customers are getting their primary information from, and then plan out your go to marketing strategy.
I think that's great advice for a lot of the founders out there. And yes, some of those founders, it really comes sort of natural to them to put themselves front and center, but others are just a little bit more. They tend to want to, I'll just do an announcement.
Yes.
Yeah, very. So, let me see there are some other things I wanted to ask you about. So, when it comes to AI, so that's one of the big things that, when we talked before, we talked about AI, and there's just so many areas to get into it. But I think that, the gap between what AI can do, because a lot of times, um, when it comes to storytelling, AI will struggle with context, it'll struggle with timing, it'll struggle with the tone, all of that. And what do you see as the biggest gap for AI with what AI can do, and what creative marketers still need to like own primarily, in your opinion?
Okay. I would say AI works really great for efficiency, insight, and acceleration. Like, it should not be used as your primary, um, it should not be used as your strategic layer. It should be used as an add on to your already established strategy. And the best way to do that is always having human decision making at the center of everything.
Mm.
So I think that's the biggest gap, where AI might not get the context of where you're coming from, why you need something said in a specific way. So you need to constantly train it. And one way to minimize that would be you can create your custom GPT. If you're using Chat GPT or if you're using Claude, you can give it some specific instructions on, you can create projects like equivalents of custom GPT. And yeah, you need to give them specific instructions of your already placed strategy. And I think sometimes as creative marketeers or just marketing professional, you might want to do a lot of things. But again, being in a small team, you might not know what are my resources. Is this really realistic to execute? You can quickly run that idea by AI and then build your own strategy from there and make a plan. Like, you get the base strategy, and of course use your human judgment to see whether this works within your team or not, whether this makes sense or not. And again, AI does not know your customer base. AI would not know what how the market is responding to everything in real time. So it's very important that if you are using AI, you need to feed it all those information, or at least direct it to the right information so that it can gather its own insight and then simplify it for you or make it work for you.
I really like the way you're explaining it because it's really sort of showing a good way for most people to sort of understand what AI is about right now. It's not going to take over the leadership. It's not going to make the decisions for you. It's going to be a layer, I think you called it, where it can be something that you use for the human centric decision for the humans to make. And it's, I think a lot of people are still trying to catch up to the fact that that's what AI is, and it's not running anything. But it's helping you, making things more simple for you. So I think that
One
that's
example I can give just from my day-to-day work, I create a lot of content. Content marketing is at the heart of our, social media marketing right now. So one great use of AI I was able to make recently was to analyze all of our top posts, what was working, what was the engagement rate, everything analyzed through AI, and then create a framework around it,
mm.
which later helped influence our 2026 social media strategy going into it. So things like that can be a great asset when you're using AI, and also having a strategy in place that complements it.
Marketers and entrepreneurs out there, please take notes because that's because that's good advice. Um, well, when it comes to AI, there's the whole artificial engine optimization (AEO) as opposed to SEO. So, um, you know, how should marketers be looking at AI recommendation engines and not just Google basically nowadays? What should they be thinking about all this right now, those aspects? And um, what's a technical thing they can start doing today to kind of get in the game on that?
So when it comes to AEO, there's another misconception I hear a lot these days, that AEO is taking over SEO or just replacing SEO altogether. And it's kind of unavoidable with even Google search having AI results at the top of your, search query. But in my experience, AEO has not taken over SEO yet. It's important to say yet because we don't know what will happen in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
If you already have a very solid base of SEO, your technical SEO is in place, you are using all the right keywords, then you can use AEO to your advantage. What AEO will basically do is look for whatever people are searching within your content. So it's important to have good SEO strategy built into your content system already. For example, if you're using a platform like Peak AI, which we use, and you can put certain filters, certain questions that it needs to track. So what you do is every brand has their own keywords or queries they need to track. What are people searching about? What are the pain points of your customers? Or even what are people talking about your competitors? So you can put those queries into a platform like Peak AI and track. Monthly you can track what people's sentiments are, and that gives you an insight not only into like a high level insight of everything, but also deeper level insight. Like you can actually click on the query itself and see what people wrote in. And many times you will see in the chat's answer that they're quoting directly from your blog or from other referrals. Maybe someone mentioned your brand somewhere and they're directly quoting that as their resource. So it's very important to have your SEO in place first, have your social proof in place. I think if you create a great foundation, everything related to AI, whether it's AEO or GEO, everything works. They work even better with your foundation. They're not going to work independently. At least that's the case now.
Yeah, they're definitely related to each other, and yeah, that's good to good advice to hear. So now you've done a lot of work with SaaS, go to market. These companies, these earlier stage companies. For those companies like them out there that are going to market for the first time, what are some key things they should nail? They should get right before worrying about anything else.
Before worrying about, social media metrics and even sales, you should see your product's positioning first. Is your brand or product's positioning right? You cannot be selling to a customer that is not looking for your product. And also to see what key message from your product you want to communicate first. Like your product may have multiple different functions. Like maybe it's an email marketing tool, but it also does XYZ, all these other functions. You cannot just throw all of it all together towards the customer, because a lot of the time a new customer does not have the patience to look through a product, especially if they are not, aware of their own pain point. So you need to be very strategic about what's the first message going to be. Where are you going to solve their niche problem? And then once that hits, you can think about scaling with other functionalities. Oh, we also have this. So right now, with SaaS products, because there are plenty of SaaS products now, so it's more important that you differentiate your product from others, and how you can do that, whether it's a specific feature you can highlight, like, oh, are you struggling with this, or are you struggling with you can even name a competitor brand, like, are you struggling with this product? Well, don't worry, now we have this feature that trumps the other other products in the market. And that's actually a very smart strategy of marketing. You can target your competitors and base your marketing around that. That's a bit aggressive though. But yeah, you should do your research about about your target customers and what their needs are, and what specific pain point you want to highlight and provide the solution for.
These are very important things that people who are just doing marketing for the first time, it's really good information for them to have. So appreciate that. We also talked about before the story spine, which is something you've described before. It's like a way of being on the whiteboard and working through frameworks like race and describe your creative process. Describe what the story spine is all about. How do you go from initial ideas to stuff that you can push across all the channels and everything?
So my background being in design or more in the creative space, I always tend to see things as, a visual story, whether it's a campaign we're talking about or a brand or a certain strategy. Everything needs to, come together and build on something great, which is what I termed as spine. So it's like building on a block, a great foundation that you already have. Not foundation, but at least a base idea that you can work with, and then build on it gradually. So for story spine, I would say when you're creating a campaign on a brand launch or whatever campaign, uh, yeah. So the story needs to be there. What is the campaign about? Um, what is your product trying to sell? Maybe it's already selling good, but what is different about this campaign? So everything, if you can visualize it, great. If you can't, then put it on like a whiteboard. We have Canva, Miro, and it's great to kind of put these ideas down so that you can see how it all comes together. And that doesn't only work for campaigns, but also it can work for a product launch as well. So you have your story spine, and then you start to think, okay, how do I now distribute, or first, how do I create the rest of the story? I have the lead characters. Now, what is going to be the climax, the hook, the ending? Basically, treating as a full story. And from that story, you need to decide which marketing channels come into play. So maybe the climax is, I don't know, a very fun launch you have planned. Let's just say that. And so you need to see which marketing channel works best for that product and that idea. Maybe it's Instagram. Maybe that's where you're launching. Or let's say before the launch. Sorry, I'm going like out of sequence, but
It's
let's
okay.
say before the launch. Yeah, before the launch, before getting to the climax, you're building the tension. So where do you do that? Life cycle marketing is a great place. You can email marketing. You can use email marketing to nurture your customers, get signups, and slowly build that uh, trust and relationship with them that we are going to launch something. So that's like another part of the story that you've planned out. So it comes together like this, and the end goal, obviously, if you're trying to sell a SaaS product, the end goal is conversion. So what is the best way to do that? Maybe it's a demo call. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's a conference. Maybe it's just some kind of online community. It could be anything, but you need to see it all come together. And yeah, that's the story of your campaign and product that you need to work with.
It's a very comprehensive look at what early stage lean SaaS teams can do, and it can be applied to all sorts of companies, just not just lean SaaS. But so let's look at the next couple of years, the next 2, 3 years. In reading the stuff you've written and your career, you've talked about things like for the next couple of years that are coming, things like adaptive content ecosystems where campaigns evolve in real time based on audience behavior. That being one possible thing that can happen in the future. I would just say, like, my question would be, what do you see the future looking like for lean marketing teams the next 2, 3, 4 years? How can they start preparing for it now?
As I've previously mentioned, AI is already working great as your companion in your already built human team. So I think going forward, AI may get more and more sophisticated, and it's important for you to decide which parts of your marketing activities can be automated through AI and which parts you still want to retain control of. I think no matter how sophisticated and advanced AI gets, human decision making should always be at the center of it. And even if I'm talking about some concept like adaptive content ecosystem, basically like creating content that can change based on who is consuming it. We already have some versions of it within the ad space. It's programmatic marketing, which is
Mm.
AI powered, of course. So we might get to see more long form content using AI to do that kind of thing. However, it's important to always think of the risks that are associated with it as well, not just how you're using AI, but also the risks. Maybe AI will be advanced, but maybe it will keep producing the same kind of results. And how do you then regulate it? How much time and energy will you spend training that AI, and it whether it's an efficient use of your own time or not. So I think especially smaller
Yeah.
teams need to be very, very strategic in how they can use AI to increase their efficiency rather than just, using it, but they're ending up doing a lot more manual work on top of it. So in the next 5 to 6 years, I think it's very possible for AI agents to become more um, AI agents to become more independent, smart, taking over some of the repetitive tasks, um, you know, not just respond to you when you need it, but also make some of the decisions if that's even possible. But yeah, those will come with its own risks where you need to see if it works for your brand or not, whether letting AI take over the brand voice is actually a smart decision or not.
Well, Taifa, it's been great to have you on from the ground up. All this advice for entrepreneurs and early stage marketers and marketing teams is really helpful stuff. It's good, actionable stuff. And to learn more about you and to learn more of of what you're working on and your thought leadership, what are people out? How can people follow you? Where can they find you?
Well, I am available on LinkedIn and I do post from time to time about my learnings there. Um, yeah, I would say professionally, I'm available on LinkedIn.
Sounds good. Yeah, great to have you on the show. And any would you want to plug MyWorks at all or anything else? Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, if you're in if you're in e-commerce accounting space, if you use Shopify or WooCommerce and you are struggling with your accounting, try MyWorks. We are an e-commerce accounting integration solution. I do not
Very
sell that very well, but hopefully people will be intrigued to find out more. Yeah, I do have to shout it out because working for MyWorks and in a small team has opened up more opportunities for me to explore AI.
Very good. And are they at myworks.com or what's their website?
It's www.myworks.software.
Got it. All right. Awesome. Well, Taifa, great to have you on the show. And just lovely experience all around. The good, actionable advice for entrepreneurs and marketing teams is a huge help. So, loved having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John, for asking me all the great questions, and I hope this might help someone out there who is starting to consider their career in marketing. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.